we have officially been confirmed Misfits 23 in Dubai, the fight before Christmas. And we've had rumored names, big names. For example, we have the controversial Andrew Tate, the Cobra.
And Darren too actually has been calling out Andrew Tate since the beginning of this year. Listen, if they get Andrew Tate on there against Chase DeMoor, let's be honest here, Tate is going to win.
You know, we mentioned one of the Cobras. Andrew Tate is a possible opponent, but, you know, you also got Carl Froch, who was also named the Cobra. So for me, I'm very interested to see which Cobra they're going to get.
Listen, we're not even talking about KSI either. Maybe if KSI gets in on this card, he's probably going to fight some stepping stone, you know, get a knockout, get the hype. Both those guys win. They get a face-off. That could be huge. KSI has always said he only wants big-name fights. Andrew Tate is a big-name fight.
Welcome back to another episode of the Last Round Podcast, where we cover everything from traditional boxing to influencer boxing and everything in between. Today's episode, we'll be going over Misfits 23, as well as our round of the year, Danny Garcia's last fight at the Barclays Center, and giving our official predictions for the heavyweight clash featuring Joseph Parker as he takes on Fabio Wardley. But before we get into the episode, make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all forms of social media. Lastly, we're trying to build up a community on Discord, and you guys joining would be greatly appreciated. And now, diving into the episode, we'll kick off with Misfits. We have not talked about Misfits since the last one where we saw Darren Till knock out Luke Rockhold back in August. And after much anticipation and rumors, we have officially been confirmed Misfits 23 in Dubai, the fight before Christmas. Now, this is a big one because they're hyping it up as quote-unquote one of the biggest events or biggest cards in their history. And we've had rumored names, big names. For example, we have the controversial Andrew Tate, the Cobra, man. You know, he's been heavily rumored to be fighting on Misfits. You know, there's advanced talks, according to Ariel Arwani, a couple months ago about him fighting. But the rumors are intensifying, and hey, maybe we can see Andrew Tate taking on the heavyweight champion Chase DeMoor, man, and in this Dubai card. Your thoughts about Misfits 23 right now?
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's been a while. Well, not that I feel like, but this year Misfits hasn't been doing so hot. I want to say, you know, when you compare it to like the previous years. To be honest, I thought that Aiden Ross had kind of taken over the scene of the influencer boxing landscape. But, you know, because they've been very consistent, you know, their last show, I feel like there's always something memorable when Aiden Ross has his boxing card going on. I mean, you got Antonio Brown with with the incident that he had. And then you also had in his last fight a guy that they were, you know, one of their guys lost. So, you know, that actually adds a little bit more like eyes on that. I mean, you always have many people going to those shows. So on the other side, Misfits needed to do something. You know, their next fight, their next showing had to be big. And it looks like they could possibly get the Cobra.
Yeah, it's looking really good for them. I mean, Andrew Tate is obviously a guy that brings in a lot of eyes. And Darren Till actually has been calling out Andrew Tate since the beginning of this year. You know, he's been saying that he wants that fight, so maybe Darren Till can get in there. Obviously, Chase DeMoor is obviously in the talks, and even KSI, who, you know, we usually say he's like a part-time boxer. It looks like he wants to get in on the action as well. You know, he's quote retweeted it saying it's good to be back. So maybe we're gonna see KSI in there too. Who knows? I think this might be the first time we get an event confirmed with no actual fighters who's going to be on the card. So I think Misfits knows what they're doing. They definitely know that they have a big card lined up, and they're just waiting for the right time to name all the opponents.
Yeah, a lot of their former fighters or current fighters in their roster came out and retweeted and quote retweeted the post on X. Some of them, like B Dave, who we thought was retired, came out saying that, oh, it's time to begin camp. You had Dean, the man who never fights, come out saying, like, you know, Dean Fitz, whatever. And people are speculating that he's going to take on Amado Vargas. Yeah. For the card. So that's another rumor that's brewing up. Slim came out as well, the hitman, stating that he's ready to throw hands on the card. So there's a lot of fighters who are, you know, coming out saying that they're getting ready for fights, or, you know, they're kind of hinting that they're going to be on the card. That's just merely to add more hype around the Dubai card. But, you know, this is the second Dubai card that Misfits has brought in. First one was last year, headlined by Gib and Slim and their anticipated showdown, which we saw Gib come out with the very, you know, decisive UD win over the Hitman and handing him his first loss. So another Dubai card tells me that, you know, if they have these Dubai cards, they're gonna pack them up, because the last one was also pretty good and a pretty stacked card. But they're really hyping it up, and I saw people also coming out saying that, oh, maybe even Carl Froch might come in. And, you know, Darren Till, not only has he been beefing with Andrew Tate, but Carl Froch was a name and someone he went literally out of his way to call out in his last fight there against Luke Rockhold after he sparked him out. I mean, Carl Froch ended up leaving the arena shortly after the confrontation. So Darren Till has been very vocal. He's currently their, I would say, main man, their face of Misfits at the moment. Darren Till has fought like 3-4 times already this year. He's made a home fighting at Influencer Boxing. So, hey man, it's a big card. And if you guys could name one influencer you guys are excited to see, who would you guys expect to see on this Dubai card?
Darren Till, you know what I'm saying? Right now that guy is, you know, been going on a hot streak for sure. There's a reason why everybody on the roster is asking to be put, or signaling that they're going to be on this card. The fight before Christmas, who doesn't want to be on that card? You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be, you know, somewhere abroad as well. I think that also adds a little bit more spectacle to it. And so, you know, we mentioned one of the Cobras, you know, Andrew Tate is a possible opponent, but, you know, you also got Carl Froch, who was also named the Cobra. So for me, I'm very interested to see which Cobra they're going to get. And no matter who it is, I think, I don't think, you know, us fight fans are going to be disappointed.
I hope not. I mean, because they, like we've said, I mean, we've been talking a little bit of shit about Misfits for a while now, especially this whole year, where they don't really have a big name fighter. You know, they definitely have Darren Till, who's been doing a lot of, you know, he has the whole brand on his shoulders, right? So he's been active, fighting, getting good fights, making it a spectacle. Now we're going to Dubai, and yeah, the last Dubai card, wasn't it called a super card or something? I mean, they were hyping it up, and they had a lot of big names on there. So I think Dubai is definitely a place where, you know, Misfits knows that they really got to show out, and I think they're gonna do that. You know, I'd be amazed if they got a guy like Carl Froch, because I know he's been teasing the Misfits debut, debut. But I don't think he's actually serious. You know, this guy's old, man. This guy's in his 50s, isn't he? You know, or if he's not, then he's in his late 40s. Because, I mean, he's got white hair. You know, his prime days were way past him. I don't think I want to see him on there. I know he has a big mouth. I know he's been talking a lot of shit. But if he goes head-to-head against a guy like Darren Till, I got my money on Darren Till. Mm-hmm. So, you know, let these boxing legends ride into the sunset. I don't want to see them come back for a quick paycheck.
Well, I would say I'm opposed to what you said. If some veteran of the game, you know, this UK legend wants to come and show a UFC fighter, ex-UFC fighter, you know, how it's done, so be it. Carl Froch has been talking a lot of shit. Has been talking a lot these past 2 years, just about the influencer game, the influencer, you know, aspect of the sport. And so, you know, he's been very critical of Jake Paul. He's been very critical about Darren Till. Well, let's see it, man. Like, like if you really want to shut up Darren Till, get in the ring. Like, I'm tired of you saying something behind the mic and saying, "Oh, I could beat them." Like, all I need is like a few weeks of training camp, and then I can beat them. It's like, well, then show it then.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you got to back it up, you know. And from the amount of shit that he's been talking, I mean, I think the fans or the Misfits fans, influencer fans, are kind of expecting him to go into this scene. But I don't know. I think honestly, for me personally, it seems like a clout chase. It seems like he was especially critical on Jake Paul. I think he'd definitely take that fight, because he knows he's going to get a massive paycheck, you know, and I don't know how much Misfits is offering right now, you know, but if it's a good paycheck, maybe they'll get him in there. But I don't know, man. He's just so old. I feel like it kind of hurts seeing all these boxing legends going in there. You know, he's always talking about I fought in front of 60,000 people in Wembley.
No, it was like 80,000.
80,000 people in Wembley. You know, that's his go-to line, and I feel like that's going to be tarnished if he gets hurt against Darren Till.
Well, I feel like, you know, as a fight fan, I think that's going to be an interesting aspect, you know, a legend crumbling down in that way, you know, super past his prime. So at least for me, if it's that Cobra, I mean, I'm still going to be entertained. You know, he's either going to lose or win, and I think it's going to be very entertaining just for me. And then if they get Andrew Tate, well, that's Andrew Tate. Mm-hmm. You know, that would be I mean, when was the last time Andrew Tate was actually had a professional combat event? It's been a while.
It's been a long time, man. He's retired. He was a kickboxer, and he was a pretty good kickboxer. You know, he became a world champion in some organization. I know for a fact the peak. So like comparing it to MMA, the peak of MMA is UFC, right? That's the greatest league there is, right? And there's PFL, and there's, you know, other small ones. For kickboxing, the peak is called Glory. So Glory is their best league. You know, Alex Pereira, another former kickboxer, now turned UFC fighter, he was a champion in Glory kickboxing. So I don't think Andrew Tate was in the best kickboxing organization, but he was a world champion. You know, he has definitely a lot of eyes on him. Right. So and he's also been talking a lot of shit to. I believe he was talking shit to Darren Till when Darren Till was calling him out. He's also a guy, you know, very outspoken, has credibility as a kickboxer. So, you know, I feel like it's really possible that they get him on the card, which is going to be huge. Because, listen, if they get Andrew Tate on there against Chase DeMoor, let's be honest here, Tate is going to win, you know. Chase DeMoor, I feel like I could beat Chase DeMoor. I mean, come on, guys. This guy's skill level is you know, is very, very low. I feel like you can go to an amateur show here and you can see better skills than Chase DeMoor. But if they also listen, we're not even talking about KSI either. You know, maybe if KSI gets in on this card, he's probably gonna fight some little opponent, some stepping stone. You know, get a knockout, get the hype. Both those guys win. They get a face off. And a promised next year fight, that could be huge, man, and that could be what Misfits needs, right? Because KSI has always said he only wants big name fights. Andrew Tate is a big name fight, so I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here, and I think if Misfits is smart, they can really make this event one of the biggest events, maybe even bigger than the Prime card.
Yeah, there's a lot riding, especially with them being linked to someone as big of a persona as Andrew Tate. Even during the little trailer that they dropped announcing the card, or just the event taking place on December 20th, I saw a couple of like Andrew Tate's fan page accounts commenting on it, saying like, "Oh, KSI's next" or something like that. So, you know, there's Andrew Tate will definitely help bring in a lot more eyes, and he can definitely do something. But hey, Chase DeMoor though. I mean, I'm surprised Rudo hasn't been glazing Chase DeMoor like he normally does. But
yeah, what's going on, Rudo? I mean, I thought Chase DeMoor was that guy. I mean, what do you think he could be, Andrew Tate?
I think it would be a very tough challenge, and I think if Chase DeMoor comes in at 110%, I think he could give Andrew Tate a run for his money.
Man, this guy's giving the political answer, bro. That's like when they give Floyd Mayweather the mic and he's like, my opponent, hell of a competitor. I want to thank God for this victory. He's going through the lines, the script, I swear.
Hey, man, but Chase DeMoor, I mean, he could have the potential to really derail the tracks for Andrew Tate if that fight does come into fruition. But definitely Andrew Tate being linked to the card and him potentially actually fighting for the company, for Misfits, would be something that Misfits would love. I mean, they're already enjoying having Darren Till and being linked up with other former MMA UFC fighters coming into or being interested in fighting with them. So having someone like Andrew Tate would definitely be, their go-to thing. So these are rumors right now. Andrew Tate is definitely, though, a hot rumor to be fighting on that card, but time will tell, and we'll see whether or not he will be fighting or if he will be fighting against the legendary GOAT Chase DeMoor. But not going back into a more traditional boxing. This entire month has been not the best month. In terms of boxing, we had the cancellation of Fundora and Thurman. Boots ended his fight in the first round, and the next big fight card is not until the ends of November, headlined by David Benavidez against Anthony Yarde. So we're in a bit of a stalemate right now. Not much going on, but we were blessed with some fights this past weekend, which included a round of the year, man. Yeah. This is probably one of the craziest rounds I think I've ever witnessed in boxing. I mean, it all happened in the first round too, which is mind-boggling. But we had undefeated 9-0 prospect during the time, Sebastian Juarez, taking on DeMarcus Layton. And who wants to break it down? Asa, you break it down for us.
Man, this was actually insane. I think this fight kind of showed you everything that you need to know about boxing, because we firstly, I think we as boxing fans, me and you guys, we obviously know that in boxing there's an A side and there's a B side. There's a guy that's the prospect that's supposed to win, and there's the guy that they just brought in so he can lose. So Layton, what was he, a 10-6 fighter? No,
I'm pretty sure he was like a 10-11 or 10-17 fighter.
He was a 12-10-1.
Okay, so I think we know what that means. He was meat for the 9-0 prospect, Juarez. Juarez is a guy that's going up in the rankings. He obviously has the backing of the promotion. These guys get into the ring. Juarez comes out hot, man. He's a prospect. This guy's nobody to him. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna whoop his ass. What is it, like 20 seconds in? He gets a little too aggressive. He throws a jab. Bam. He gets hit with the right hand and he goes down. And it looks like he's out on his feet, right? He gets up.
No. He was out on his feet. He was out on his feet. So I feel like, you see some, just the way you explained it, A side and B side, there's a little bit of, favoritism. The referee gave him a long 10th inning, a long 10-second count.
Yes, because when Juarez gets up, he's on his feet. He starts walking to the ropes. He kind of stumbles and grabs onto the ropes. And the referee, like a dumbass, he knows what he's doing. But, he was trying to play. He was like, oh, I didn't say box yet. And Juarez is like, oh, okay. So he kind of walks back to the ring, kind of like half-assed. And then he starts counting again. So it was I want to say it's like a 15 count. He gave him like 15 seconds, gave him the benefit of the doubt. And before he says box, he's like, walk over here. And then Juarez goes the complete opposite direction. The referee doesn't do anything and says, okay, box. So, if that's not favoritism, like on display, I don't know what is, So, but it worked out at the end because Juarez, he was out on his feet. He starts holding like crazy, which is what you should do. That's a veteran move. For a 9-0 fighter, I like that, because some fighters start swinging. No, he said, I got to go clinch. I got to go get my bearings. Starts holding, gets 2 points taken away for excessive holding. Out of nowhere, he lands a 1-2-3, a hook. It puts Layton down. Layton gets up. He knocks him down again with the right hand. Layton is like damn near getting pushed out of the ring because he's so fucked up. Gets back up, and then he gets knocked out once again for the third time, and the referee calls a fight. So we got 4 knockdowns. We got 2 points taken away for excessive holding, all in the first round of a boxing fight. I mean, what more can you ask for? This was a firefight. I mean, it seemed like it lasted like for 12 rounds, but it was only 1 round, and you know, Juarez, the prospect, goes out 10-0, gets another knockout. And I mean, he gets the respect of the fans because I tip my hat to him. He stuck through it, man, and that was very impressive.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that fight basically, that saying anything can happen. That's boxing. This is the reason why boxing is the greatest sport in the world, because literally anything can happen. The guy who's supposed to stop this fighter that has a losing streak, he gets knocked down bad. Oh, right away I knew Jake Paul was, because that was Jake Paul's fighter signed to Most Valuable Promotions. Pretty sure he was like, what is going on?
Wait, no way, Layton was Juarez. Juarez was signed to MVP. Okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, right away you go, wow, that's crazy. If you have that knowledge or whatever, you go, whoa, that's crazy. Like, and then he gets 2 points taken away, and then he just is able to come back. That is something that you normally don't even see. I don't even think. When was the last time we ever saw fighters knock each other down, like, what, 5 or 6 times?
No, this is a once in a lifetime. I mean, this was crazy, and I think it's for sure gonna win round of the year. Unless, I mean, listen, we only got a couple of months left in the year, or 2. We only got 2 months left in the year. If something beats this, I mean, it's gonna have to be insane because this is for sure. I will lock it in right now. That's how confident I am. This is going to be round of the year for 2025. Juarez versus Layton. Crazy round. And I think it just shows you Juarez, that guy's an animal. He's a dog. He's got that in him because for being so young, this guy's a prospect. He's still super young. For him to like tough it out and actually come back from being hurt to the max. I mean, if the referee was biased to the other side, they might have stopped the fight because it was that bad. I think it shows you, I mean, the type of fighter that he is, and I think he does have a bright future.
Look, yeah, me too. I've heard this saying. I can't remember who it was, but it's very good for a young prospect like Juarez, who is only 20 years old, to get to fight through the adversity, because then he's able to see he's able to look at the pros and cons. The con was that he came out too aggressive, so he has to calm down a little bit. He has to understand that one punch can change the whole fight, and he was able to overcome that and show that he has courage. 2 is that that boy has power, man. The moment that he landed that right hand, Layton felt that down to his toes. Like, that power is real. So I think it's what you said. He does have a bright future, just as long as he's able to correct those mistakes. Moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So definitely, everyone on X was quote retweeting saying, "What the fuck just happened, man?" Because that's one of the craziest, and for me, the craziest first round ever, and one of the craziest rounds I've ever witnessed in an actual fight. I think this one kind of compared to the Zepeda against Berinchenko. They just kept on dropping each other, and this one kind of felt like it too. But this one in first round, man, that's insane. So definitely, I do agree. I mean, I believe it's gonna be very hard to beat this as round of the year for 2025, but definitely gave a lot of limelight to Sebastian Juarez, who now 10-0 is looking to continue building up and to hopefully fix the mistakes and not to fall into the same trap that he did when he got dropped for the first time in his career against Layton in that first round. That kind of kickstarted the whole thing. So crazy first round, round of the year so far, and I think there's little dispute about that being the case. But at the same time that these fights were going on, we had a very emotional night in New York, guys, because Danny Garcia, the man who made the Barclays Center his home, fought for the last time there, man. And coming up into this fight, there was, people were, I think even he was talking about, this being his final fight of his career, end of an era. Looking back at it, he was a two weight division champion, a unified champion at 1.2, fought some big names during his peak prime. So this past weekend was a very emotional type of night for him, which he was able to come out on top, against a rugged Daniel Gonzalez, who instantly felt Danny Garcia's power and ultimately fell to it with a devastating left hook that Danny Garcia is well known for in the fourth round to end the night and to maybe be the final chapter in Danny Garcia's story. But now that he won, now he's all like, oh, maybe I got one more fight in me. Anyway, thoughts about Danny Garcia?
Yeah, man. Fuck Ryan Garcia's left hook. I want Danny Garcia's left hook. I mean, did you see the knockout? He barely touched him. It was like a grazing shot, and this guy went, oh my goodness, it was actually insane. So, Danny Garcia, we grew up watching him, which is actually kind of crazy because it is actually emotional. Danny Garcia is a fighter. He was a 2010 type of fighter. He had his prime at 140 and 147, and I was a fan of him. When he fought Keith Thurman one time, I was rooting for him, man. I wanted Danny Garcia to win, So we grew up watching him, and for him to, he said he wants one more fight left. That's what you always say when you're up in the ring and you got the mic, right? You feel the glory, you feel the fans, you feel the support, and maybe you say something like that. But if I was his team, I'd say retire. Retire on top, because he had a fantastic career. He fought great fighters, unified champion at 140, a champion at 147, and he did it all. What else can you do at 37 years old? You're half active, you're semi-retired, you're barely fighting. I think it's the perfect send-off just to show his best attribute, that fucking left hook, man. Show off your best attribute and ride off into the sunset. I salute Danny Garcia. I think he's a hell of a fighter.
Yeah, I feel those exact same sentiments as you. In a post-fight interview, I believe he mentioned the fact that in his first professional fight, he stopped his opponent, and it was with the left hook. So, I think for him to bring it back around, I think, it does bring out that emotional side, if you are a Danny Garcia fan. And I guess for me personally, when he beat Amir Khan, I think that's kind of when I started, wanting to root for him a little bit more, kind of starting to, follow his career a little bit more. But I was definitely sold on him when he was the co-headliner for Mayweather against Canelo back in 2013. September of 2013, he fought Lucas Matisse. Was a tough, rugged, one-punch knockout artist.
Yeah.
For him to beat him and drop him, I was definitely sold on Danny Garcia. And so then, he had a really good run. And, for him to then have this as his final fight, stopping his opponent with a left hook, I think it'd be a nice send-off. But who knows, just in my head, I can match him up with maybe Zayas, get a, go and fight in Puerto Rico, for the belt.
Shit, I ain't gonna lie. Now that you mention it, Zayas is Danny Garcia could do it, if he really locks in.
He's only 37. He's a young 37. Within the past few years, he has kind of, those rumors are kind of true. He is semi-retired. He's not as active as he once was. So, I don't see why he wouldn't want to fight in Puerto Rico for a world title.
Yeah, it'd be that's a good matchup for him, especially since Zayas has been, he wants a Puerto Rico homecoming fight in this future, or two, at least for a title defense. So that'd be a good Puerto Rico showdown right there. But look, he last time before this last fight, he fought against Erislandy Lara, and he looked terrible. Yeah. I'll be honest, he looked terrible, and he got stopped. He quit, and he was kind of emotional about it. He's had his troubles outside of the ring, but it's true, he was semi-retired more so. He's got his businesses outside. He makes money that way. He has his own thing. He doesn't really need to fight anymore. So I was expecting this to be his final showing, but then after he got the knockout and they interviewed him, they were talking about, like, is this the end of Danny Garcia? And he's like, I don't know. And you know, when they say something like that, they're like, you know, for sure that knockout got him so hyped that he's all like, you know what, maybe I still got 1 or 2 more fights in me. So as of right now, you know, it's still up in the air whether or not he's gonna retire or not. I was under the impression he was, but after that post-fight interview, he also said something about he's like 85% thinking of retirement. But if the money's right, he can get another fight. So I mean, Zayas, I mean, if he's interested, they could do a Puerto Rico showdown, passing of the torch type of thing going on there. So it's a very interesting you know, a moment right now for Danny Garcia. But if that was the last fight, you know, I salute him. He had good fights.
Yeah. Hey, he does have the power to stop Zayas. You know, if he's able to land that left hook on Zayas, he's knocking him out.
No, absolutely, man. That left hook has been through the years. You remember that highlight reel knockout against Polka?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then that hook just knocks him out completely. I mean, this guy, he really does have that left hook. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe he's actually southpaw, and that's actually his power hand or something. Because damn, he throws that left hook, and like these guys just crumble to it. So, I don't know, man. I think that's definitely his best attribute. He was a aggressive fighter. You know, he fought some great fighters. I don't want to say he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't want to discredit him for that. You know, I think the Hall of Fame is just like such a high standard. But as a Danny Garcia fan, watching him growing up, I think he was a great fighter. I think he did his thing. He fought great fighters. Keith Thurman, super close fight. Like it was a toss-up. I honestly, watching it back, I thought Danny Garcia won. You know, Keith Thurman got the victory. Against Sean Porter, I think Danny Garcia won, but it was a close fight, and then Sean Porter got the victory. So, I mean, he's been on the back end of some very close decisions. I think he could have had a hell of a career, and he did have a hell of a career, you know. So, I don't want to discredit him, but, you know, if we're talking about Hall of Fame once he's retired, I don't think he reaches that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think in a hypothetical, I mean, if he, let's say, becomes a world champion, you know, in his next fight or two, you know, let's say in this case, Zayas, and he beats Zayas, and becomes a WBO champion at that weight class. I mean, he would be champion in 3 different weight classes. I think maybe you could say or mention his name or be a candidate for, you know, a Hall of Famer type of fighter. But as of right now, no. But I think another thing that I do like is the fact that, you know, he definitely came from nothing. From the mean streets of Philadelphia, and for him to then, you know, be smart with his money and have things going outside of the ring, you know, I mean, I was underneath the same impression as you, Pablo. I thought this was really going to be his last fight, but you know, with those comments that he said at the end, you know, who knows? And this is boxing, you know, influencer boxing. You know, has been here for a couple of years now. I think a lot of boxers, you know, that are even retired, you know, we saw Mike Tyson go back into the ring. Who says that Danny Garcia isn't going to fight next year or something?
Shit, yeah, and supposedly Mike Tyson is now fighting Mayweather in an exhibition. I mean, I don't even know. The whole thing is going crazy. So, you know, Danny Garcia, like you said, I mean, he's still 37. I mean, we got some older fighters, like Crawford is 38. You know, and Crawford is the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter right now. So, I don't know, man. Danny Garcia could still return. The thing that I worry about him is that he's so inactive that he's just going to, like, relax. He's going to focus on his other businesses. And then the thing is, you can't be a part-time boxer, right? It takes up it takes up everything from your life. You really got to dedicate yourself 100% to it if you want to beat the top guys. So, I don't know, Danny Garcia, it doesn't seem like he has both feet in the sport. I'd prefer if he actually retired because, you know, I think he's a great fighter. He did his thing. He has nothing else to prove. You know, a 2-division champion, unified champion. He did it all. And I'd like to see him go off into the sunset.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what is next for Danny Garcia, whether or not he decides to retire or not. But one thing's for sure, he got the knockout win this past weekend, 4th round KO over Gonzalez with a brutal, trademark left hook that left the Barclays Center standing up. But now moving forward to this upcoming week, we return back to the heavyweight division where we'll see WBO Interim Champion Joseph Parker take on Fabio Wardley in a heavyweight clash. Now, last time we saw Joseph Parker was back in February, where he took on literally like 1 day late minute replacement Martin Boccoli, in which he stopped Boccoli in the 2nd round. Last time we saw Fabio Wardley was back in June, where he took on Justice Huni in a fight that was a very hard fight for Fabio Wardley, which I had him losing before he got the knockout win over him. So they're both coming off 2 knockout wins each, and it should be a good fight. Fabio Wardley is currently 19-0 with 1 draw, 18 of those coming by way of knockout. So Fabio Wardley coming in hot, and it should be a very good heavyweight clash for the interim WBO belt. Thoughts about this matchup?
Yeah, for me, this is very interesting matchup between these two fighters. Kind of surprised that Joseph Parker wanted to take Wardley. Wardley is a guy who has, what is it, a 90% knockout KO ratio. What is he? 19 victories, 18 by way of stoppage. Like, this guy has power in both hands. He fucked up that one dude's jaw.
Clark.
Yeah, in the rematch, he had his mouth all sideways. So for Joshua Parker to not take just another guy within the top 15 rankings, to keep his skills sharp, so then possibly he could be next in line, for a Usyk fight, he wants to take Wardley. I think that's very dangerous.
Well, he's getting the short end of the stick. This guy, bro, Joseph Parker, he's still the interim champion. He's been the interim champion for a while. This guy is always never getting that world title shot. I'll be honest. I'll place my bet right now. I don't think he's going to get a Usyk fight. I do not think Usyk is going to fight him just because Parker does not have a massive name. And I feel bad for him because he's been at the top, man. This guy has climbed back through the rankings. He's had good fights, and he beat Martin Boccoli. He beat all these guys. He went up the rankings. He's the interim champion. Give this guy a world title fight. But they don't give it to him. Instead, he has to fight Fabio Wardley, which is an up-and-coming prospect, up-and-coming contender. He's a contender now, But, it's like, bro, how much does Parker have to fight? Who else does Parker have to fight in order to get a shot at Usyk? Yeah, I guess it's not possible for him to get a fight.
Yeah, it's weird because I remember early on when we were beginning the channel, 2023, we were giving our Fighter of the Year awards at the end of the year, of course, and Joseph Parker was one of the names that that we mentioned as a possible candidate, or as a what's the word for it? He didn't win it. We didn't give it to him, but he was definitely a honorable mention for Fighter of the Year because he got stopped by Joe Joyce, right? And then I remember after that fight, he got brutally stopped too. People were saying, "Oh, that's the end of Joseph Parker." He's had some great fights. He's had some good names in his resume, but that might be it. Boom! 2023 hits, gets new team, and absolutely starts tearing everything up. Ever since that Joe Joyce lost, he's gone on a tear. He's taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different people. He's been on a 6-fight win streak, and he's KO'd nearly all of them. So it tells you a lot about Joseph Parker. He really reignited his career, and it's a damn shame that he has not yet gotten a big, opportunity at the world heavyweight title. But I think this fight was definitely what he needs, more so in the fact that he needs a credible name. He already has Boccoli, but a lot of people don't give him the credit just because of how last-minute replacement Boccoli was. But, he's taken out Deontay Wilder, which they still don't give him credit for that one either. But he took out the Big Bang Zhilei Zhang. So, he's been on a tear. He's been in good form, and he's getting the wins. And I think this win against Fabio Wardley would really push him for at least, some consideration for the heavyweight title shot, because Usyk did say he recently came out and said he wants to keep fighting until 2028 or something like that. I don't know his plan anymore. He's be saying like I have like 3 more fights or 4 more fights, and now he's saying he wants to keep fighting until 2028. So Usyk right now, he's up in the air. Also, he's quote unquote injured, hence why Joseph Parker couldn't get the fight against them. So now he's got to make it up with Fabio Wardley, which I think it's a great matchup for him. And Fabio Wardley needs this fight too. I mean, if he wins, he becomes the interim, and he gets, he becomes a fighter who can call shots now.
Man, Fabio Wardley, I'm not really sold on him. I think he has a saving grace, and that's his power. Because look at his last fight, he was getting outboxed. Plain and simple. He was losing the fight. And it wasn't anything special that his opponent had. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was simple, pure, fundamental boxing. And I don't know, if Wardley, he wants a firefight. He wants to exchange because he really does have that power. So that's the thing. When he's going up against Joseph Parker, a veteran in the game, Parker has fought Zhilei Zhang, power puncher. He's fought Martin Bakole, power puncher, and he's gone out ahead of them. So I don't think he has this fight, man. I think Wardley's gonna rely on his power. He's gonna be a little too anxious. He's gonna try to swing too much, out of range, and Joseph Parker is just gonna be able to be on the outside, box him, be smart, and be able to get the unanimous decision.
Yeah, for me, I like Wardley. I like his style. I like, the power. As a fight fan, you always love to see, boxers that have one punch KO abilities, and he possesses that. And he's also explosive, which, I think sometimes you don't really see in every heavyweight fighter. But yeah, he has pretty fast hands. But I think it's what you said. Joseph Parker is the older guy slightly, but he's been fighting the top elite guys for a while now. He's already been a world champion. He's fought Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua, and then just some of the recent guys that you guys just mentioned. It does seem like he has gotten a second win. I mean, he's on a 8-7 fight winning streak. 6. He's 33, but he's a very seasoned 33-year-old. And I think the reason why, for my prediction, I'm going to go with Parker, not with Wardley, is because Wardley's last performance against a guy who was mostly a boxer, was just boxing him, was beating him. And Joseph Parker is able to, be consistent throughout a 12-round fight, what's the word? Just be conscious of, not making those mistakes, not, getting into a firefight. He's going to box Wardley and keep him mid-range to outside range and, beat him by unanimous decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm also predicting a Joseph Parker win. I agree. Yeah, he's simply going to go and outbox Wardley from the outside. But I think we also have to take into consideration Joseph Parker does have a chin. Yes, he got stopped and dropped by Joe Joyce, but I mean he got dropped twice by the Big Bang, Zhilei Zhang, and he still came out on top. He still was able to beat him, So and Big Bang, the Big Bang destroyed Joe Joyce, and he has knockout power. I mean that dude is a big dude, and so he packs a punch. So that tells me a lot about, first, Joseph Parker's chin and also his mentality. And I know he's hungry for a title shot now that Tyson Fury isn't there, a stablemate of his, hence why they never even fought each other. But I mean, Joseph Parker, it's hard to go against him, even though I did go against him when he fought Zhilei Zhang because I like the Big Bang. But overall, in general, I mean, ever since he came back in 2023 and started going on a tear, I've been very impressed, and I think he rightfully deserves a shot at the world title. It's a shame he hasn't gotten it yet, but I mean, him beating Fabio Wardley would be, another name to add to his resume, of course. and another stepping stone for him to reach a potential heavyweight showdown or for the title. So I have Joseph Parker winning this next weekend or this upcoming weekend by decision, scorecard. I think he might UD him. But Fabio Wardley, I think, will pose some threat just because of the power and explosivity that he does bring to the table.
Yeah, that's his key to victory. The explosivity, the speed, the power. He has to make it messy. He has to make it into a firefight. He has to make Parker think that he has to exchange with him. And if Parker starts exchanging with him, Wardley has a good chance, a very good chance to knock him out, because he's fast, man. He's not one of these, like Zhilei Zhang, he has power, but he's a slow heavyweight. He's big, he's heavy, he's not very quick. He relies more on timing than he does on speed. Whereas Wardley, he's more explosive. He can be more quick. And so if Wardley wants to win this fight, he has to use the speed. He has to be quick. He has to make Joseph Parker try to overextend, try to go be aggressive. And then maybe Wardley can punish him for that. But I really don't think Wardley... The thing is, though, I just don't think Wardley has that type of plan. It's very one-dimensional. Just go forward and destroy. And I think you have to have a little bit more nuance, a little bit more game plan than just that.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how that fight turns up, but I think we all predicted Joseph Parker to take the victory this upcoming weekend. Yes, sir, right? Joseph Parker. So here at the Last Round Podcast, we officially all predict Joseph Parker to take the win over Fabio Wardley in this upcoming weekend. But I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover for today's episode. Let us know down below your official predictions on this heavyweight clash. Do you think Joseph Parker will be beating Fabio Wardley, or do you think that Fabio Wardley has enough power and explosivity to surprise Parker and to come out on top? Also, let us know about your thoughts on the round of the year and give us your official opinions on Andrew Tate potentially fighting on Misfits and once again returning to the combat sporting industry. But don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and follow us on all forms of social media. We're on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, we're trying to build up a community on Discord, so you guys joining would be greatly appreciated. But this was Pablo, and I'm with Rudo Nasa, and this was the Last Round Podcast. Thank you for watching.